Well, folks, it's time for an update. All right, so those of you who have been following me, I'm Jolly Julian, by the way. Why? Because I'm usually jolly, and today you're going to find out a little bit more if I'm still Jolly Julian or if I've become Jilted Julian. Recently, I purchased a brand new PC to do VR in the best way possible. At least that has been my goal with the purchase of this brand new PC. The PC I purchased from Dell is an Alienware Aurora R16 gaming desktop, and it is really about the best I could find to do virtual reality in a really knockout way. And I didn't want to skimp here. It's got the 4090 graphics card in it, which I know I overpaid for.
What you gonna do, Gary? Show me the money!
Today I'm going to give you an update on how I feel about the computer. You know, is it a romance that will last the test of time? Or is it a one-night stand that I immediately regretted and had to go to the doctor to check to see if I had an STD and it just ruined my entire life? Well, we'll get into that in just a moment here. Let's virtual our reality. Virtual reality is the reason I purchased this thing. In fact, that's the only thing that I really want to use this computer for, other than maybe some video editing as well and video filming. I'm filming this video, by the way, on this brand new computer. Again, I don't want to install anything I don't absolutely need on it, because I want to see how well it runs when the only stuff I have on there primarily are my VR games and experiences and OBS to record these videos for you. The thing runs incredibly quiet. I can barely hear the fan running at all, as opposed to the previous computer that I have that is fairly loud when that thing is running, and it doesn't have nearly the power under the hood that this computer does. So let's talk about the experiences that I've had. Well, I got in there and I started testing it right away. I tested it with No Man's Sky. I tested it with Raft with a VR mod. I've tested it with Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020. All right, let's jump into that one, because in a previous video I showed some side-by-side comparisons of the frame rates and the graphics quality that I was getting on this new computer versus the old computer that I have that has a 2080 Ti graphics card in it and an older processor, about a 6-year-old or so older processor, and you could really see the massive difference, and I'm feeling the difference. I've been really thrilled with my tests for No Man's Sky and Raft VR, but I have not shared how my tests went for Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020. For those of you who know Flight Simulator 2020, you know that that thing is a hog. It's a beast. It's going to take your computer, it's going to crush it, it's going to just smear it into the ground. It's going to make it wish it had never been born and that its mother and father computers had never met and never got involved with each other. Your computer will be crying for mercy when you run that particular experience. So I knew that was going to be a good benchmark for this. Well, I'm happy to say that I am very pleased so far with Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 on this new computer. The upgrade of the processor, the upgrade to that 4090 graphics card is really on display, as I was able to really crank up the visuals considerably and still maintain a decent frame rate. Now, here's the key. I am running it using Virtual Desktop to run it wirelessly to my Quest 3 headset. Now, I know those of you who are aficionados of flight sims, you're like, why are you not running this with at least the link cable so you don't have any latency or, occasional hiccups from that Wi-Fi signal? And I just like not having the cable. I like the freedom of it, and I want to be able to play it in different locations occasionally in my home and see how it runs, so I opted to do it that way. And I will tell you, I think the only issues that I'm really having are occasionally with some hiccups from the Wi-Fi. But the reason I'm mentioning Virtual Desktop is that I am running it with Space Warp always enabled. Now, I did some tests with it off, with it set to automatic, and with it set to always. And always is giving me a phenomenal experience. I'm able to crank those graphics up higher and get a very stable frame rate of around between 72 and 90, depending on which setting I set it for. Now, I typically am running Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 at 72 frames per second because that's fine for me. I don't notice a massive difference between 72 and 90, especially with Space Warp on, because it's running it at half that frame rate and then interpolating the in-between frames. And with the Space Warp technology that's available on Virtual Desktop, I'm not seeing very many artifacts at all. There's just the occasional one here or there, but nothing like I've noticed with things like AirLink or even Steam's version of Space Warp, which never has worked particularly well for me in Microsoft Flight Simulator. So I'm very happy with what Guy Godin has done in Virtual Desktop with that Space Warp technology. So another game that I tested that's on, going that simulation route, because I think that's a great way to test a computer like this, is to throw it into a simulator where everything is kind of throwing a lot of heavy-duty stuff toward the resources that PC has, is Automobilista 2. I love driving games. I've got a steering wheel and the gear shifter and everything, the pedals, all of that. I am by no means an expert. I am by no means great at it. But there are very few things that feel as satisfying as getting behind the wheel of a Ferrari or a Porsche or a Formula One car and just tooling down the road with a bunch of other racers around me feels great. Well, I gotta tell you, Automobilista 2 looks and feels wonderful on this machine. I'm able to run it at a very stable frame rate of, again, 72 or 90, right around there. It might dip a little below. I think I just did my recent tests at 90 frames per second in there, and I was getting, it would dip occasionally just a little bit below that, but not very much. I'm really pleased with how Automobilista runs. It's a wonderful simulator, and just everything looks more vibrant, more sharp. Everything is so much smoother. Again, it ran okay on my old machine, but this is just a whole notch up, which is exactly what I was hoping for with this machine. Another thing that I've tested this on is a first-person shooter that I'm enjoying quite a bit. And again, I'm going to put the stipulation out there, I am not great at first-person shooters. I enjoy them, I really do. I'm not going to be one of those great people that you're going to learn all the tips and tricks from on how to get the best kill ratio and how to win and take number one, but I do enjoy them very much. So I popped into Contractor's Showdown, a recent first-person shooter that I'm just enjoying the heck out of. I'm really not great at it, but I had some experience playing it on my old machine because I played it quite a bit over the last few months as it came out. So I figured I'd pop into that on this machine and see how I felt about it. So I have to say, it ran very well on my old machine. It really did. It ran quite well on my old machine, but I am noticing this just seems to be more smooth. The graphics seem to be sharper than it was on my other machine. I have to say my experience so far in Contractor Showdown has been very positive as well. And one of the other things that I want to talk about here is the use of the Unreal Engine VR injector mod, the UEVR mod. All right. This is something that has gotten a lot of attention over the last 6 months or so as it was preparing to come out and then as it came out. And I have to say, I am absolutely in love with this mod. It is not perfect. Okay, let's be honest here. But nothing that is going to say that it can take nearly any Unreal Engine 3 or Unreal Engine 4 game and turn it into a VR game. That's never going to be perfect because it's trying to do so many things at the same time. And I have to say, the team that created the UEVR mod did a knockout job because I've had some of my favorite experiences of the last 6 months using that UEVR mod. But the one that I want to talk about here is one that I did not expect to work very well. I did not expect to enjoy very much, but I tested it out on here, and it is a game called Bramble. Now, I don't know how popular this game is. I've never heard of it until I found it on Epic Game Store. It was one of their free games for the week. And I ended up picking it up a while back just in case I ever wanted to play it, but it wasn't in VR, so I wasn't sure I would ever play it. Well, once I discovered that it was built with the Unreal Engine, I thought I would pop into my new machine and see how it worked with the Unreal Engine VR mod. And I have to say, I am enjoying Bramble so much. So I hope you're starting to get the idea here. Am I falling on the jolly side, The jilted side, somewhere in the middle. Well, let's get to my summary here in a moment. But first, I just want to say, I've tried out some other experiences as well, gone through some other games. I'll probably talk more about those in a future video. I don't want to make this video too long for you. I want to get to my summary. How am I feeling about this computer? All right, my overall feelings are this. I believe, for me, that the investment has been well worth it so far. Unless something crazy happens over the next few days, or something goes terribly wrong with the hardware over the next weeks, the next months, the next couple years, I believe that I'm going to be very pleased with this computer. Now, is it night and day over my old computer? Well, my old computer, I could play VR in. I could. Was it perfect? Was it phenomenal? Was it the best frame rates possible? No. But I have enjoyed my VR experiences for the last 6 or 7 years on that computer and enjoyed every moment of it. But this computer is a major notch up. I mean, you really notice it when you've played as often as I have and know what it feels like to be in VR when you're in VR in a premium experience. I would say, if I had to give it a percentage, what percentage is it better than my other machine? That is really hard. Now that I just thought about doing that, I've put myself in a strange position, because that's kind of a tough thing to do. But I would say that this machine is probably 40% better experience maybe than my other one, depending on what I'm doing. If it's Microsoft Flight Simulator, this computer is easily a 50, 60, 70% better experience. When I'm flying in a densely populated, cityscape like Manhattan, then this computer is easily a 60% better experience. Overall, I would say it's at least a 30 to 40% better experience. And when you do VR every single day like I do, when you want to get the very best experience you can, if you have the discretionary funds and you love PCVR as much as I do, then this was a good purchase for me. And it might be a good purchase for you. Or go out there, get the parts, and build one for yourself if you have that ability, that confidence in yourself to do it really well. All right, so again, this is a little bit of a long video. I apologize for that, but I hope it gave you some insight into my journey with this new PC. If you liked anything that you saw here, please do hit that like button. But only if you liked it. Be honest. I don't want you to BS, right? Just if you liked it, please hit the like button. It takes just a second to click that. And it really makes a big difference of more people seeing this content who might be interested in it just like you. And please feel free to subscribe to this channel. I'm going to be doing new videos like this, a wide range of stuff. I might be getting into some actual gameplay videos as well. If that doesn't interest you, that's okay. You don't have to watch those. But I'll be doing content like this. I'll be talking about my VR experiences. And I've got some videos planned coming up where we're going to talk about some of the negative things in VR as well. I'm Jolly Julian, but sometimes we got to talk about some of the things that could be better in virtual reality as well, but do it in a constructive way. That's my hope. All right, we'll catch you on the next video. This is Jolly Julian, flying away.